How do you build resilient shoulders as an athlete in any range of motion, in any sport, or just someone who needs to get out of shoulder pain overall? We're showing off doing some gymnastics here, but I'm a guy who's separated his AC joint. Coach Daza
separated this shoulder right here.
We've just been able to get to a level of ability where we can do all different types of things with our shoulders now, pain-free, just showing off. So I can show an example of me doing like handstand push-ups. I could do, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 reps. For reference, what we're gonna do is show off for a bit, and then we're gonna explain to you guys in the gym how we can actually get there. What movements you can use for yourself to be able to get out of pain, and not necessarily if you need to get to this ability, but just have injury-free shoulders, and as an athlete, have complete injury prevention as well. Well, hit the flip.
Hink.
Hey.
Oh!
Dodge elite. Easy. So we're gonna go up to the gym and show you guys step by step how to build injury resilient shoulders and get out of pain for the long term. If you're dealing with shoulder pain, this is the first movement we wanna work on. Now, what do these guys look like? We're gonna break it down real quick. So you wanna have your head on your hands, lying on your side, pick up your legs, cross them, get your knees wide. Why do we do that? So that we can't shift our weight between sides. The goal right now is to build strength in and around the rear delt, trap, and rotator cuff. This movement is called the Paratial. How it starts is bringing your hand at the eye height, raising up as high as you can, holding at the top for 2 seconds at the level that you can handle, building up strength there to eventually get to the point where you can use it with weight. But if we cannot get there and you already have pain right now, we start at a lower level. So we can start down there. The key thing is to bring your thumb up to the sky a little bit to be able to really target this rear delt and just being really active in that position right there. You want to get 6 to 8 reps between sides. The key thing is when you come up, hold for 1 to 2 seconds and then control back down, right? And the key thing, if you guys want to switch sides, is making sure that we get complete balance between sides. If you may notice for yourself, while you're doing this movement, you may have a slight imbalance between sides. You may be able to raise one arm higher than the other arm. That's totally fine. We want to continuously work up to a point where we can, as high as we can, kind of balanced between sides as we raise our hand. So this is the Paratial. This is the first movement that you want to start working on to relieve shoulder pain. Now, Coach Daza is going to run you through the wall pullover, break it down to the people. Why do we do the wall pullover?
The wall pullover is great for helping us to open up through the lats. If the lats are tight, then our shoulder can't really rotate the way that it needs to. He's going to set up on the wall, elbows straight, hands nice and high, bending the knees, heels are off the ground. He's gonna shoot his hips up and back to the sky and lower that chest. Now his goal is to be able to get his forehead to touch the wall or as close as he can without any pain, sinking the chest as low as possible and really focusing on breathing into where the lats insert into the armpit to really open up the entire side through here. He's gonna hold this position for time. Think about releasing all of that tightness in the lats, the shoulders.
And most people sometimes when they do this movement, they have like sort of this pinching almost in the top of the shoulder joint. So what you can do is bring your hands closer together and then bend your elbows a little bit more and then sink the hips back. And you may feel less of that pinching and it's mainly just focused on the lats. So if you have that sort of weird pain in the shoulder as you're going down, just change to this, hands closer together, bend your elbows a little bit more. But Daz, so you had the separated shoulder, right? And you've been doing this with the Paratial and the wall pullover. So he's an example of someone who's had a shoulder injury. Why have you liked these two? Like why? Why do we do it first?
Specifically, the order is Paratial first for short range, right? Getting blood flow into the back of the shoulder. Once that blood gets there, it's a little bit easier to move it, especially if it's after an injury where that shoulder is a little bit sore. Let's get some blood into it, get it moving. Then, once it feels better, we can start to lengthen it. Like I said before, the lats specifically, because once that opens up, his shoulder is gonna be able to move a lot more freely without restriction.
Awesome. Okay, let's move on to more deep range mobility once you get to that level.
So Daz is gonna set up on this bench right here. We're doing an ATG Fly. Daz is gonna have his arms straight. And then what you wanna do is start with body weight. And as you go down, you're twisting your arms and you're stretching out your chest and your lats, reaching all the way back, holding for like 2-3 seconds, and then coming up, rotating your wrist again. So you want to get to a point where you're doing 5 to 10 pounds, but you know, just starting out, filling it out with body weight, breathing into the chest, opening up the lats. It's gonna be really good for your chest and your shoulders, and coming back up.
So for someone who does the wall pullover on the wall, this is another progression. This is when we're gonna actually load the same position that the wall pullover is in. We're not only opening up the lats, but we're also opening up the inner chest right here, which is a big reason for most shoulder pain, is that there's a lot of vulnerability here. So we build stability on the backside with that first movement. We open up with the wall pullover. The ATG Fly is next. Daz, grab some weight and show them the weighted version. Run him through like super slow form cues. So he's at the top.
Reach your arms back, open your chest up. Think about getting your palms towards you. If you're having any sharp pinchness right here, you want to do is get the arms even wider. So if that doesn't feel good going narrow, get them wide and then come back up. Think about turning your palms again. So really, really stretching out that chest as much as you can. When you're at this deepest position, really breathe into that chest and open it up and then come back.
For most people, you're gonna notice that as you go down, one arm is gonna be way, way, way tighter than the other one. That's usually what happens with this movement. So you wanna just continuously focus on that side, feel that deeper stretch, think about it, deep breath into the area that is tighter, spend more time in the bottom position, and then press back up. And so that's the ATG Fly. We're now gonna go onto the German hang. So again, if you think about what we're doing right now, we open up the back side of the shoulder with the lats, okay? And that's the biggest stem of most shoulder issues, is too much rounding. So we're trying to reverse that rounding and finish out having comfortability to be like resilient and have good posture. I'm not saying walk around like this, but we're trying to resolve the posture within training. This next movement is the German hang. This looks a little nuts. You're gonna basically put your hands on the bar behind you, just like this, and Boyo already could potentially feel a stretch right here. If it's a complete beginner, they already will feel a stretch in the deep inner chest muscles right here. The goal eventually for like an elite athlete, which would be to sink deeper, feeling a deeper stretch in the shoulder, almost into the bicep as well, feeling a pull all the way down, right? Just being able to sink and sit on his feet right here. The freak level is to be able to hold your body up completely. That is the freak level. That is very, very advanced, but you want to be comfortable in this position so you can put your feet down and just hold that position right there. Literally just holding this for a minute is going to give you a ton of release of tension in your shoulder joint. You can feel it going all the way into your inner chest, also in the bicep right here as well, all the way up to this area of the forearm. And this is kind of the last piece of mobility for completely trying to get the shoulder opened up and being able to move in all different directions without flare-ups or pain or pinching. The next step, after we have gained mobility with the shoulder, is to start building strength in the areas where most people are the most weak, right? Everybody does lat raises in the gym and they want to build that bigger V-tape frame. It's cool, it's all good, but building the white tissue in the shoulder, actually training not only the muscles, but the tendons, the rotator cuff, is crucially important. And these two movements are like the go-to that we use to be able to do that. First here, Coach Boyle is going through the external rotation, fighting the way down as slow as he possibly can. Chest is high, the elbow is on his knee. This knee doesn't move. It doesn't want to cave out. Show an example when it caves out. We don't want that at all. As he's going down, the chest is high. We are controlling the way down. 4 seconds is the goal. And then we're coming up all the way, thinking about this area of the shoulder being very, very pulled in the bottom position, like a deep stretch here. As we come up, it's flexing. It's working muscle, but it's also focusing on training the rotator cuff for throwers, right? For throwers that go, whoosh. This is literally training the reverse of throwing, the reverse of a tennis racket, the reverse of a punch. It's basically training the reverse of that. You're basically building a better brake, like a brake of a car, for your shoulder joint. Over here, we're working the Powell raise. This is a go-to movement that we work on with most athletes. The goal is to build strength in the trap area, the rear delt region, and a little bit of the lat on both sides to create balance. So incline bench, he's gonna step over, okay? He's gonna be in a split stance. He's gonna hug the bench behind him. This is gonna be weighted, like just kind of feeling a stretch right here. He's gonna raise from that position. Good. Squeeze the upper back in this area right here, get as high as he can. Keep looking at the weight and then fight the way down. And as he's fighting the way down, he's gonna go 1, 2, reaching the dumbbell out in front of him, 3, 4. That's the goal with those reps, okay? And you guys could switch sides here just to make sure that we get both angles of what it looks like. Obviously, we want to continuously be training both sides with the same intent, finding our weaknesses. For most people, you're gonna be really, really weak in this movement right here. You're gonna be very vulnerable between sides. You may have one side you can't even do for 6 reps, the other side you can do for 10 reps. So there's just a difference in what ability you can have. But focusing on fighting the eccentric in both movements is the key for longevity and shoulder bulletproofing. You see this? Fighting the way down slow. You see this? Fighting the way down slow. That's how you build injury resilience with the shoulder in strength. Building up the backside muscles, not just the front side. So once you have strength on the backside of your shoulder, the goal is not to bench a ridiculous amount of weight. The goal is to be able to hold weight over your head and feel comfortable locking out your arms in something like a snatch, right? Especially if you're an athlete, building resilient shoulders. I was like the bench king in high school, but the goal now for me is to be able to be really strong in the top position of a snatch, getting into positions like the deep squat, not having any shoulder pain, and just being able to lock out at the top and build more strength gains in that top position. Because this is like the ultimate position that you want to be in for any type of shoulder movement, whether it's that handstand that we showed you guys earlier in the wrestling room, or just like a movement like a back bridge, right? That all goes in hand with the shoulder resilience, being able to be strong behind your head. Coach Boyle and Daz are gonna hop in and hit some snatches real quick. We're just gonna show you guys a glimpse of what coaching would look like. This would be the progression that we would work on with athletes. So let's just say someone comes to us with a shoulder injury. We wanna get them to a point where they can snatch again. Right? We don't just want to get them to a point where they have no pain. We want to get them to the point where they're comfortable having a weight, a bar, go behind their heads and be really strong there. So for simple cues real quick is to pop the bar off your hip, boom, and catch it at the top. And you want to catch it with your hips back, just like that. So he's boom, popping it off the hip and controlling back down. The key thing is to really like almost hump the bar. So at the top, you want to hump the bar to throw it up, boom, and you're catching at the top. Again, a snatch movement is obviously a very explosive movement. Being able to like just throw the weight and catch it underneath, sink your body low and keep your hips back, hinge in the deepest range. It's basically a wall pullover at a very advanced level, if you guys think about it. Or the second movement that we did in the turf room, this movement is the same movement that we're gonna be in here, but everything that we did up to this point helps you get to this point here where you're able to actually do it. That's the goal that we wanna get to, is the snatch. The key thing that you wanna take with you continuously in training is building structural balance between sides, training the front side with the same intent that you do the back side. I'm hitting shoulder press here, right? Boyo is hitting full range of motion dips here for the front side of his chest, but then Daza right here is hitting full range of motion chin-ups, building the backside strength. And this is overall just gonna help shoulder stability long-term and making sure that you're not neglecting movements like this external rotation or the Powell raise. This is gonna help you build long-term injury resilient shoulders as an athlete. Stay locked in.